Hey, what's up, Pacer Nation? Hope you guys are doing well today. Just want to let you guys know that we recorded this episode on Sunday evening, so if there is some conversation that is not relevant anymore, I do apologize for that. I believe Landry Shamet is a name that was brought up as someone that I thought the Pacers could go after as a free agent, but he did, or is expected to, sign a new contract with the New York Knicks. We also did not know the news on Micah Potter or Jalen Slauson, so Micah Potter, the Pacers did exercise their team option on him and did pick him up, but his contract is still non-guaranteed until January 10th. And of course, Jalen Slauson got a qualifying offer, which makes him a restricted free agent that the Pacers now have control of. So it looks like there might be a battle for the two-way spots on this Pacers team with Braden Smith expected to sign one. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed today's show. We'll talk to y'all soon.
This is Tyrese Halliburton, and you're listening to Setting the Pace.
Happy Tuesday, Pacer Nation, and welcome back to another episode here of your go-to Pacers podcast, Setting the Pace. I'm your host, Alex Golden, joined today by my co-host, Michael J. Facci. Facci, free agency is just about 24 hours away. We're getting really close to June 30th, 6 p.m., so whenever you're listening to this, it's probably about 36 hours when you're probably listening to this. We'll just be honest. But anyway, we're getting close. Obviously, we're recording this on Sunday, June 28th, so a lot of these contract, like we talked about on the last episode, the options and the deals have to be finalized for team options and player options on the 29th. So if some of that stuff ends up impacting our little free agency preview here, we do apologize. But I think that most of the players we'll probably be bringing up will be able to kind of we won't have to worry about what happens on Tuesday for that.
Yeah,
Monday for that.
I think so. I mean, the idea of free agency in the past is always a blast because you always know, like, hey, there's going to be moves that shake up the league. But I think from the Pacers standpoint, been a bit underwhelming the last few years. I remember you and I used to do live free agency pods and be like, all right, let's go. What do we got? They're probably going to sign Turner now. And then we waited and days were going by. And that's what I think of, like, okay, that was last year. Nothing happened. There was other times where it was, TJ McConnell.
Yep.
Man, what was his name? Who played on the Suns? We signed like right away.
Ayton?
No. Way worse. It was like a so-so move. The guy played on.
Oh, I know you're talking about. It was
He was like
Torrey Craig.
Torrey Craig that we signed like right when free agency happened. I remember being like, "What is this?" Like that was the most
I loved it too.
that was. I tried to sell myself and be like, "Oh, I mean, Torrey Craig, man, solid defender," but it was just like it just never moved the needle. Obviously, Bruce Brown was a splash, and we saw like that was a smart move by the Pacers to be able to sign him at an expensive contract, which gave them a trade chip the way that the contract was, whatever, the way it was structured. So I thought that was a very smart move, but free agency has not been the best to the Pacers historically.
Yeah, so for today, we're going to do a little fun exercise where we're each going to give one free agent that we think the Pacers could go after in free agency, one player we think they could go after via trade, and then one wild card, which could either be a free agent or a trade. So just kind of wanted to give us an opportunity here to come up with three names each. You've heard some of the lists we've come up with over time, so there might be some redundancy there, but there might not be. So we'll kind of have to see how this one plays out. I think that the wild card ones will be interesting. Maybe not, but I'm excited for this exercise because I just want to see the Pacers do something a little bit more than maybe they're putting out there that they're doing, and they really need to get some scoring help off the bench. I'll just go ahead and share my information, just like a little bit of a tease here, Foch. I don't have any centers on this list. Did you have any centers on your list?
I do, but not as like my number one. So I know they obviously were pretty adamant to say that they need, they want to address center, but to me, I felt like if you were to address the center position, like you still need more scoring off the bench. So to me, I prioritize that just a tad bit more.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Like, I could put a center on here, but it's like if I only got to pick one, like I think you sign a center to a vet minimum.
Sure.
Kind of find someone that can give you some depth that way, and then just really look at some of these guards or wings that can help you with a little bit of the scoring load. So we'll start with free agents here, Foch. Who is the first free agent you have the Pacers, or your free agent target for the Pacers?
We've talked about this name before. I think that the name might be sexier than the reality, but Chris Middleton is still someone that intrigues me. I know there
Okay.
it could be rumored to potentially maybe could Miami look to obtain him.
Okay, hold on a second, real
What
quick.
do you got?
We got about 15 to 20 names mentioned to Miami now. So, like,
Yes, exactly.
any
Sure.
free agent the Pacers could go after is also linked to Miami for this
And
same
the
thing.
Lakers want everybody that we want to, no matter who it is, no matter what year it is. So, sure, yes. But you're right on that. I shouldn't look into that. But Chris Middleton, in my opinion, is someone I feel you can trust off the bench. No, he's not going to be someone who's going to be dropping 20 a night for you. But like, I just feel like he's a veteran scorer that you could play at multiple positions. Who's been around the block, and I feel like he knows his role. He's won a championship before. He's been an all-star in this league. He's made a ton of money. I don't think it's about that. I think it's about the role and winning. And I think that the Pacers can have that role and that opportunity to win if they're able to, link up with Chris Middleton. What are your thoughts on Middleton?
So, I was very much a big Chris Middleton believer early on in this process, and then as I've looked into it more and more, I am a little bit concerned about Chris Middleton, just because I think there's some questions here about the fit. Does he fit the style of play the Pacers want to play?
Could run a little bit too fast for a guy who's had knee issues and is
Well,
definitely, in his mid-30s. It's a fair concern.
look at his knees; like they do
Oh,
not look
yeah.
good. I mean, you can already tell, like with the way he played with the Wizards and the Mavericks, like it was already worse than what it was with the Bucks in the playoffs 2 years ago. So I do worry about the wear and tear that he puts on his body, and I worry about the style of play. And I think injury wise, like this is a guy that really hasn't played a whole lot of games the last couple of years, and it's like
well,
even if
he
he's
did.
playing less minutes.
Yes, he did log 63 games last year, which the sad part is that's good for Middleton. That's real good for him. So, like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's definitely a fair point. Is like most seasons, he's really only given around like honestly like 50 or less. So, style of play, yeah, I think that's a fair concern to say like if he's running up and down this, is he going to make it for the full season? Yeah, that's definitely in question.
Yeah, so I mean, I get why he would make some sense because I think it would be cheap to get him probably, but there might be a
That's
bidding war. There might be a bidding war now, like you
he.
said, because there are gonna be teams that want him, and
If
so
you're
it's
gonna
like,
be cheap, everyone else is also gonna be in the Middleton sweepstakes at that point, and I don't think the Pacers should overpay for him. I just feel like, man, this is someone that I feel like can just give you at least double-digit points off the bench and, is someone that I feel like could be somewhat consistent compared to some of these other names out here.
yeah, you kind of wonder if maybe he would take the full taxpayer mid level around that $6.5 million, and maybe only do 1 year for him because I don't want to know. I don't really want to do 2 years with
Yeah.
Middleton
Yeah, that
unless it's a
second
team
year is
option.
probably gonna be more of like a trade chip, like, that type of expiring contract type of
Yeah.
move.
I mean, he's definitely like an upgrade over what they have. I mean, I'd rather have Middleton not have anything else, if that makes sense. Like,
Absolutely. I would rather trust Middleton to be scoring than like a Ben Shepherd on a consistent night. I just feel like Shep's gonna do, the dirty work and, dive around, do things that maybe Middleton can't. But I just feel like Middleton could still have some nights here or there where he could drop 20 points or more, and it wouldn't be the most shocking thing. But at the same point, yeah, you definitely brought up a valid point that like he could wear down as the season goes on.
all right, Pachi. So for my first free agent, like I went with a more of a bigger swing here, and I have a safe one because I wasn't sure which way you're going to go. But I'm looking at Quentin Grimes. I know that we've talked about the price
Yeah,
that it's going to
that's
cost
what
to
always
get him,
worries me.
but I
Or
mean,
too cheap.
he might want all this money, but what team's going to have it now? I mean,
It's the
that's the
Brooklyn Nets. They got like 40 million plus to spend. I feel like he to me seems like the type of guy that just is going to go to the highest bidder. But look, if younger, more in his prime, definitely more than Middleton. So I don't hate the name. I hate like what he would be asking and where the Pacers are at.
But I think if you still get him for $15 million and you have to trade like somebody to get, enough of the full mid level to get him, like it makes sense. But like, how old is he now? He's 25 years old.
Yeah,
He just turned 26 in May. So he's 26 years old. He fits the timeline perfectly. He's 6'4". He's got a good wingspan. I mean, the 3-point shooting, maybe you'd like it to be a little bit better than it was last year. He only shot 33.4%, but for a career, 36.6% 3-point shooter. And like some of the stuff he did in the playoffs, like I was impressed with the way that he played. So I'm just looking at someone that can be another ball handler for this team. can also put some points on the board. I mean, 13.4 points per game in 75 games is pretty good shooting, from his standpoint, playing with Philadelphia. And that's
Look
a
what he
weird
did the
Philly
year
team.
before. After getting traded, he looked like he was like, I would say, one of the most improved players in the league.
21.9 points a game.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's when he was like, "Yo, pay me," because he knew it was like, I gotta capitalize off of this because he looked like someone who could be somebody. And I feel like he kind of like, had kind of came down to reality more where he's probably someone that maybe could give you 15 a night consistently, which is very solid. Man, very, very solid in this league. I just wonder, what his asking price is because I feel like teams might be a little bit far off.
Yeah, and so if that's, like, too expensive, then the cheaper route for me would be Landry Shamet. I just think that
I'm in. I'm in. I am.
6'5", shot the cover off the basketball last year, 39.2%, career 38.5 point, 38.6 3-point percent shooter. Like, yeah, he's not gonna be like a lethal, like, give me the ball and get out of the way type of guy. Like, he's not like a Mathurin scorer, so that's the only reason I have a little bit concern with that. But I think that he's a guy that can spread the floor, can defend well. I mean, we've really seen him elevate his game to the next level, and like he won the Knicks 2 games really in the NBA Finals and was unbelievable. We've already talked about him a lot in the Eastern Conference Finals and things like that, but special player in my opinion. But at this point, like a special player in terms of like a bench role player that you're going to ask to come in, like not a special player that you're going to pay the break the
I'm
bank
on the
for.
same price, same
Yeah,
page as
sorry.
you of like special in a different type of way. So he ain't gonna break the bank, but I do think that he is going to be one of the cap casualties for the Knicks, where you can't keep everybody. They might not even be able to keep Mitchell Robinson, but I do think that by bringing back like a Jose Alvarado and one of the other depth pieces that they brought back, I feel like Shamit's on the way out.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go to the trade portion of this. Who do you have the Pacers
trade
targeting in
portion.
trade?
I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but it's Kenny Hustle. I brought him up
I
top.
knew it. I knew you were going to pick him.
Because I can't get off of him. I'm thinking about him, man.
Kenrich Williams.
When my head hits the pillow, I go, but the Thunder are dealing with everybody right now. They're not even looking for anything. So they traded Aaron Wiggins. All right. They traded Isaiah Joe, and it was just multiple second-round picks. So Kenrich Williams, OKC still needs to slash payroll, especially when we know now that they're keeping Isaiah Hartenstein. They're keeping him. So they signed him to an extension, so he's not going anywhere. Where are you going to cut salary from? So I looked at it, and it's like if you're trading Micah Potter and like a second rounder or two to get Kenrich Williams, now all of a sudden you have your, center depth. He could play the 4 and the 5. He could shoot the 3 ball well. I think he would have a bigger opportunity off the bench. He would make $7.1 million this year as a team option. One thing that's a little bit interesting is I looked at it. The Thunder have until June 29th. So, after this episode has come out of if they're going to pick up this option or not, my guess would be they pick it up and then trade him. I think that would probably be what the answer is, but there's a scenario that maybe he actually hits the market if they can't deal him. So, obviously, if they just decline the option, that saves them a ton of money in the process. But knowing it's the Thunder, they always love to pick up a couple assets here and there. So to me, obviously, I brought his name up a ton of times, but I'm still intrigued.
I like him as a player. Don't get me wrong. I don't even think you have to trade Potter to make the deal happen because the Pacers would have enough money underneath the first apron. They could just absorb him in a contract, and we'd kind of see them. The Thunder don't really want money back, so
I just think they could just cut Micah Potter at that point.
Yeah, if you need to. But even if you don't, like you could just keep Potter on his non-guaranteed contract and then just decide at training camp if you want to bring him in or not. Like
you definitely could.
Similar to Tony Bradley. Like we did that last year. We were like, there's no way they're going to keep Tony Bradley, James Wiseman,
hanging by a thread,
Jay Huff, and Isaiah Jackson. And then they walk into the regular season with 4 centers on the roster for this center by committee thing. And then after game 3, have to cut Wiseman because they had 1 point guard healthy.
Yeah.
Because TJ was out, and there was like Ray J. Dennis was their starting point guard because Nembhard was hurt. TJ was out, Tyrese was out, and Cam Jones was out. So, like, it's just crazy. Like, that's how things can change so fast. But for me, like, the only reason, like, I would be a little bit hesitant on Kenrich Williams is just because he is a 4-5. And unless they're, like, dedicated to playing him at the 5 full time, he's going to get buried at the 4 spot.
Yeah.
So I can't really see him playing the 3. maybe he could, but like I think he's more of a 4-5 than he is a 3. So that's the only reason I think maybe they want to use their resources a little bit differently. Like that's why the Isaiah Joes and the Aaron Wiggins made more sense to me.
They did, and I
Position of need.
either of them. I really did. I
Yeah.
just I just feel like for our backup center, I would love if he could, stretch the floor.
Yeah.
I would really love some of that. I know Zubats is working on a shot and this and that, but like you can't just pencil him in for 37% from 3 or something like that on, like, a decent volume, so
Mhm.
I try to think of, like, who could be a backup center that could stretch the floor, and I feel like this is one where, if it doesn't work out, it's an expiring contract. It's not like you're taking on any future money, and maybe you could trade him at the deadline if it doesn't work out, but I'm still intrigued.
Okay, so I've kind of had this name on my mind for
What
my
do you got?
player. Do you have any idea who it is that I brought up several times on here?
Is this Mamu?
It's not Mamu. No,
Okay.
not someone I think the Pacers will go after. Just similar to the same thing with
Yeah.
Kenrich Williams.
Yeah.
Undersized 5 that plays the 4. It's like you really don't need it.
I know.
I'm looking at someone that can play the 3 or the 4, but is more so a 3. And I can't get my mind off Derrick Jones Jr., especially with everything we're hearing in Clipper land right now. Like Kawhi Leonard could be on the
Team's
move.
up for grabs, it feels like,
It
This
seems
is
like they're trying to hit this youth movement. They've got Keaton Wagler. They've got Darius Garland. They've got we might bring in Peyton Watson from Denver. We're going to try to like renounce all these or all these free agents to create this potential room. They're looking at maybe wanting RJ Barrett back instead of Brandon Ingram. It's like they're really trying to get more of like a youth movement out there in Clipperland. And I just don't really know where a 29-year-old who's going to be 30 in the middle of the season on an expiring deal really fits what they want. And I wonder if this is where you can maybe even just do like a Derrick Jones Jr. for a Jarris Walker swap, just to make it makes the math work. They save a little bit of money. They also get younger and figure things out. But like they potentially could let Mathurin go as well. Like they could just let Matherin's
I don't know
restricted
what's
free
gonna
agency.
happen there with Mathurin. I'm not hearing, like, really any reports that they're, like, in
There's
love
nothing
with
on
him.
Mathurin. Like no
I
interest
know.
either from other teams.
Yeah, that's why it's like it went from, like, all of a sudden, like, hey, Mathurin's probably someone that's gonna be looking for, like, maybe, like, 25 to $30 million per year to, like, what is his market gonna be?
Mhm.
So that's pretty interesting, especially for a Clippers team that wants to be younger and all this. You would think that that'd make a lot of sense, but only if the asking price is right. So, but going back to your point on Derrick Jones Jr., I do think that he would definitely make the Pacers a better team in a different way. Like, sure, you're
Yeah.
not going to be really getting like a big score. I mean, the last 2 years have been his best years from a scoring standpoint, giving 10 points per game, for the Clippers. He's always efficient, plays good defense, like gonna hustle, super bouncy. So there's definitely a lot to like. But yeah, I mean, if that was, I mean, I guess my name wasn't sexy either. Like, if that was the name that they brought in, like, do you feel that that's enough to say like, hey, Indiana is definitely solidly better?
I think so because this is a starter.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
played next to Kawhi. That's been a like part of 2 finals teams like I mentioned before with Miami and with Dallas. I just think that getting another actual wing defender that can shoot the 3, like I know it's not great percentages overall, 36%
good
from
enough.
3 is
Yeah, yeah,
average,
yeah.
but it's like the corner threes I think he's pretty solid at. I like that he can play the 4 if you do want to go a little bit smaller and play him at the 4 next to Toppin at the 5 or Siakam and him can play together. Like to me, it just gives Indiana more versatility at the wing position. And so I like him as well. The other name I had on here was Najee Marshall, which we kind of know that they're like,
Yeah, I'm a Najee Marshall guy.
yeah,
I am. I
probably a
do
better
think.
scorer, but like doesn't have the
Yes,
3-point shot.
yes.
So it's a different player. I personally think Derrick Jones Jr. fits the Pacers style more than Najee would, but I think Najee would be a nice change of pace.
Yeah, I think I'm like very set on like, okay, how does Indiana get more of like a better score off the bench? I do think that Najee would provide that. I mean, 15 points per game.
29.1% from 3 last year is
I
terrible.
know,
That's
a
Cam Jones
little bit
worse,
gross,
like
little
level.
bit gross. Yes, like 20, anything below 30% is like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be shooting threes. Like that's just like not all right. So, both players though make the Pacers better. Both players make the Pacers better. Both good defenders, you know, solid scorers, decent rebounders, all of that stuff. So I would very much be intrigued with either player and feel that Indiana's depth and bench improved. That's
Yeah.
definitely what I would say. But obviously, in terms of like, yeah, getting out of those players, back, you're definitely talking Jarris, and I don't know if you need any. I don't know what else you need. Maybe it's a couple second round picks or something like that.
Yeah. All right, Facci. Well, let's get to the fun part here, the wild card spot. So, what do you have at the wild card spot?
The wild card, I don't know how wild I got, but it's more of like I put it in there because it's like I don't really like see it, but like I could sell myself on this, and I feel like Pacer fans would be completely split. I brought this name up a while ago, then stopped bringing it up. But like, what would your thoughts be if DeMar DeRozan was bought out and signed with the Pacers?
Is that your name?
It is. Yes.
That's the first name I had on my list.
Man, look, I'm not crazy, but here's the thing: it's like the Kings, clearly, there's not really a trade market for him right now. Like, I just don't think that like the Kings are going to get anything. And it would like if he's being bought out, and all of a sudden, like when you're looking for your Mathurin replacement, DeMar DeRozan has always been a really good scorer in this league, and I feel like he's someone that could average, I don't know, like 17, 18 points off the bench for the Pacers and really make them that much like deeper as a team. When I think of like a 6-man, DeMar DeRozan as a 6-man to me feels like he could strike some fear into an opposing defense.
Facci's played in the league for 17 years, and for I believe 12 or 13 of those years he's averaged. No, I think for 14 of those seasons he's averaged 18 points per game or more.
Yep.
And his second season, he averaged 17.2. His third season, he averaged 16.7. But since then, he's been an 18-plus points per game scorer, and he's been a starter for a long time. I mean, I'm sure he'll want to start somewhere. The rumor from Michael Scotto was that DeMar DeRozan could be waived by the Kings. He's only got $10 million guaranteed on this year's contract, and the belief is that he would sign with the Clippers. Once again, if he were to go to the Clippers, that means that probably somebody like a Derrick Jones Jr. becomes available, or if the Clippers decide they're going to trade Kawhi Leonard, where's DeMar DeRozan going to go? Like, sure, he might be able to go to a team like Golden State and start and get more opportunity there, but is he wanting to do that and stay in California, which is probably something he would probably prefer?
Yeah.
But if he wants to win a championship or have a chance to go deep into the playoffs, like, you're probably looking at, okay, Indiana has a spot as like a 6-man that I could play. Miami might have a spot for me to start. I think that there's a way that you could maybe convince him. Now, you probably can't guarantee him a starting spot, and I think that might ruffle some feathers if you like brought him in and tried to start him over Nesmith, because I don't think that makes sense.
I don't think you do that. Yeah.
But 37 years old, like he's getting older, but he's still really efficient.
I know.
Scorer.
That's the thing is like he's like a different type of 37. Like, sure, he could easily take a step back this year, and maybe he's, I don't know, averaging like 16 and a half, but like at 37, 38 to still average 16 and a half and be efficient from the field. Never been a good 3-point shooter, never will. That's okay. Everyone's accepted that. But like he's a scorer. It's what he is. And I just feel like he's lost a lot of games the last few years. Like winning should matter. In between Sacramento and Chicago and even some of the ugly years that he was with San Antonio, like winning should definitely matter rather than starting. Like if it's that big of a deal to be a starter at like 37 years old, then it's like, yeah, of course you haven't won recently. So he should prioritize that. And I think that he would be a good fit in Indiana. So I would like to see it. If there's a way for it to be able to happen and just, he gets bought out, gets his money. It's not that big of a deal to then sign as like a minimum contract or, a low amount of money at that point. I would love that move.
All right, so the wild cards that I wrote down, I told you I had 4 names, and DeMar DeRozan was one. I think it's funny that we had the same one there for the wild card out of all of them.
I like it.
But the other names I threw out, and these are names that I've talked about before, so it's not going to be that wild, but Kelly Oubre Jr., whenever we talked about him.
I debated. I did.
I was like, man, he probably will cost the full mid-level exception or very close to it.
I think so.
I think he's a really good two-way player that would help this team significantly. And he can start if you need him to start, but I just think like a super 6-man would be kind of like a Kelly Oubre Jr. The other name I'm really keeping an eye on is AJ Green with the Milwaukee Bucks. I have no idea what they're doing.
I've been intrigued.
They've got a lot of wing players now that they've made all these moves, and like he's a 6'4" shooting guard. So it's like if they keep Tyler Hero and they've brought Kevin Porter Jr. back and they've got Nate Amin and they've got Braden Burries now, like does he really make sense for their team? Like what do they want to do with him?
Sniper. Like I would love his
42% last year from 3.
And he's got the volume. Yeah. He is like an actual sniper in this
7.1 attempts per game last year and shot 41.9%.
It's real.
He's a career 42% three-point shooter. He shot 41.9 his rookie season, 40.8 his sophomore season, 42.7 his junior season, and then last year as a senior, I'm just kidding, his fourth year, 41.9%. But like just like ridiculously a great shooter. It's like how do you pass up on a guy like this?
I don't know. I mean, we've talked about how, like, I've been interested in, like, a Luke Kennard who's gonna be in free agency, but, like, when you're talking about AJ Green, you're talking about it's a fresh 4-year deal where he's gonna be making between basically about 10 to $12.5 million per year each of the next 4 years. That is great value for a great shooter. So if the Pacers were able to, make that trade, I would do it. I really would. And even if it's Jarris for AJ Green, I know some people might say Jarris could become a much better player. He could. He probably could. But you know what you're getting out of AJ Green. You're getting a great 3-point shooter on a really good contract. And I feel like for Jarris, like, I don't know what he would want on his next deal, but my guess is it would be more than 10 to $12 million just based off of draft spot, age, all that stuff.
Okay, so this is like a really super wild card. I don't know what to expect because he's coming off an injury, but it's Bradley Beal. We touched on him briefly probably about a
Yeah.
month or so ago.
It's not bad. It's just there's just like this like stank on Bradley Beal that I'm like, ugh, but like it's not like he's on that mega contract with a no trade clause or anything like that. He's on like a player option, like just below
for
$6 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if he declines it, I mean, what are you looking at in terms of paying him? Or are you just talking about like a trade?
I mean, no, I think he's going to decline it. I mean, even if he does pick it up, you could still get him
Yeah.
via trade. Because I really don't know where he wants to go. I don't think that the Clippers are too intrigued to bring him back, right? Because they've
If
already got like
Kawhi's
this.
not going to be there, I don't think Bradley Beal would want to be there because all of a sudden now it's not like a great Clippers team, and I feel like Bradley Beal is someone who literally has never won.
So last year he missed 76 games because he had a
He did.
fractured left hip. He
Yeah.
got that suffered that injury against the Phoenix Suns. I don't really know what to think about him because, like, what? He's still, how old is he? 33 years old. So it's like he's not that old, but he is getting up there in age. He's still younger than TJ McConnell. Was he starting last year for the Clippers?
I
He
mean,
did
barely
start for the
played.
Clippers.
Yeah.
For the 6 games. That would be the biggest question mark. Does he want to start or not? But like, still, like, this is a 38% 3-point shooter, like a guy that has put the ball in the bucket a lot. And
Mhm.
like, yeah, when the Suns traded for him, like they traded Chris Paul. Like they were trying to build a super team, and that's not really who he is. Like he is a really good scorer on he torched the Pacers every single time they play the Wizards, right? Like that's the type of scorer he has. So I like having that dynamic because it does feel like Benedict Mathurin-esque where he can get hot. Now can he still do that after having this injury? I don't know. And
I
that's a
think he
little bit of
can.
a risk factor.
It is a bit of a risk factor, but without the hefty price tag attached to him, I feel like it's something that like both parties should be interested in because Bradley Beal should want to show that like he's not washed up and someone who is like overrated and overpaid and this and that. So like maybe there is a situation where he is falling into a 6-man role where like he's contributing to winning basketball instead of being the best player on the worst team, which was a situation that he had been involved in for a couple of years.
Mm.
So I wouldn't hate that move at all, especially if you're just talking about, hey, look, like he's going to pick up his player option and he could be had, for really not much in terms of trade. They just want to move him just to kind of get him off the team type of situation. I definitely feel like he would be someone that I would not give a starting spot to, but I feel like in terms of like a 6-man scorer off the bench, like I think that it would be one of the potentially better options compared to like rolling the dice on like a low ceiling type of score. He's been there. I think he can give you 15 off the bench.
So the only concern I have with him is, of course, he is injury prone, right? Like that's the only thing you
He is.
have to really worry about with him. But like, other than that, like it's a low risk, high reward type of move. Like it's not like, oh, we're gonna pay him the full mid level exception or anything like that.
I think
Right?
it's
If
worth
somebody else
roll
wants
the
to
dice.
pay him more than like $5 million a year, then okay, we're not
Sure,
gonna bring
go
him
for
in,
it.
right?
Yeah.
But it just depends. Like I think they would probably like to go a little bit younger if they could. And I don't know what those options are. We kind of threw some names out there that are a little bit younger, but even like the Kelly Oubre, like he's 30, so it's like DeRozan's 36. AJ Green's 26, but like he plays really no defense. I mean,
I know.
we didn't throw like Gary Trent Jr. out there, which we've thrown him out quite a bit.
Which trust me, he would have been an honorable mention. I went through it a couple times, and I saw something recently. It's like he's expected to opt out of his player option. I'm like, yes, like absolutely, go out there and get more than the minimum, Gary. Like do that, or just get out of Milwaukee.
He's going to sign with Miami on the minimum.
Yeah, the guy can't escape minimum contracts. It's a shame because he does have game, but I do feel like it's time for him to leave Milwaukee, and that is someone that like I would love Gary Trent Jr. off the bench. I really would. It would check the box for 3-point shooting that we need. I think he could be a decent scorer off the bench. I would be very intrigued.
Gary Trent Jr. or Ben Shepherd, who would you rather have?
Well, different roles. I mean, I think I honestly, in terms of who's gonna like, I would rather have Gary Trent Jr. I know that Ben Shepherd is gonna, people like him more in this. He'll bring more to the table defensively. Sure, absolutely. The Pacers need scoring off the bench. They really, really do. I think that Gary and 3-point shooting. If Ben Shepherd could be as consistent as he was the last handful of months, that's awesome. Maybe that would solve that. But I think we have every right to be a little bit cautious, knowing that that was like a 4-month sample size rather than like a 3-year sample size.
And I'll just put it this way. I think Ben Shepherd's great defense is a little bit overrated.
I know. I always feel like I'm kind of walking on eggshells a little bit when it comes to Shep because some people feel so strongly about him. But like, I just feel like it's not to say that Gary Trent Jr. at this point has this high ceiling. Like, no. If somehow he's younger than I thought, feels like he's been around for a while. But this is someone that at least has had big games on big stages in specific against the Pacers in the playoffs. And I just feel like he's the type of guy that could get hot any night from 3. And I feel like that doesn't happen for Ben Shepherd.
Ben Shepherd's a good team defender, not a great individual defender.
There you go.
And he probably is like their 3rd best option at guarding guards, behind Nembhard and Nesmith. And that's not really like a high praise thing for me because it's like, who are you going up against? Like, you're about like, I think Furphy's probably a better defender than him actually when he's healthy. Siakam is a better defender than him when healthy. So, and McConnell probably defends ones better than Shepherd defends anything that he defends. So, I think that we've given him a little bit more credit probably as a good defender than he actually is, but he's still okay. So, anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole and get all the Shepherd stands upset, all 5 of them that are out there, but I just think that maybe we overhype his defense a little bit, and that's why I want someone like Derek Jones Jr., Kelly Oubre. Like, yeah, Shep can go out there and be like your 4th or 5th best defender on the wing. Like, that's great. Like, I don't think he should be the 3rd best. Like, let's get some help in here and not make him do it. So, all right, Facci, that's kind of our little off-season preview here, our free agency preview. We're going to find out some more news tonight of like what's happening, and so we'll be back to recap all that on Tuesday. But any final thoughts before we sign off here?
Let's temper expectations. I don't think it's going to be an eventful day 1 for the Pacers. I really don't.
Come on, give me something. Torrey Craig, come on down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, Torrey Craig could always be in the running, but I will say this. I remember when the Pacers, signed TJ McConnell, it definitely seemed like something we're like, all right, whatever, bringing in some point guard depth. And here we are. So you never know what could happen. I definitely trust that whoever the Pacers bring in, I think it'll be a smart move. I think they're all about the fit. So that's one thing they're not going to bring someone if they don't fit well. But I'm excited. I want to be shocked. I want to be proved wrong. But at the same point, I'm with you guys. I'm hopeful for the best.
Absolutely, Facci. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Pacer Nation, thank you all so much for tuning in. Please leave us a 5-star rating review on Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen to your audio side of the platform. And then, of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment in the comment section below. I know that me and Facci do read them. It don't always reply to everything just because there's a lot of comments usually on there, but we definitely take note of what you're saying. And I believe somebody sent us a mailbag question on there as well, one of the recent ones. So
I did see that.
We'll try to get to that at some point. Maybe we'll get to it this week later on. But Pacer Nation, thank you all so much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the names. And if you have any other names that we didn't mention, please leave those in the comment section below. And until tomorrow, we'll talk to y'all then. Peace out, Pacer Nation. Facci, hit us with those 3 words.
Let's go, Pacers.